The elevator doors sealed shut with a finality that echoed like a gunshot in my chest, trapping me in the suffocating silence of the 22nd floor after hours. Rain hammered the windows like an accusation, blurring the neon haze of San Francisco into a watery grave, and I realized with a gut-wrenching lurch that the building's security system had locked us in. Me and Jordan Hale, my boss, the man whose mere presence made my pulse betray every secret I'd buried deep. In that frozen moment, as his eyes met mine across the shadowed expanse of desks, I knew this night would unearth truths neither of us could outrun, truths that could shatter careers, hearts, and the fragile walls we'd built around our souls. I'd always prided myself on being the reliable one at Hale Tech Innovations, the 28-year-old junior data analyst who crunched numbers until they sang, staying late to polish reports that kept the company's AI-driven marketing tools ahead of the curve. San Francisco's tech scene was a beast, ruthless, glittering, and unforgiving. And I clawed my way here from a cramped apartment in the Mission District, where the scent of my abuela's tamales still lingered in my dreams. But reliability had its price. Endless overtime, skipped dinners, and a closet door bolted so tight it creaked under the weight of unspoken yearnings. I'd watched Jordan Hale from afar for 2 years, his commanding stride through the open-plan office like a force of nature, his sharp suits hugging a frame honed by dawn runs along the Embarcadero. At 35, he was the visionary CEO who'd bootstrapped this firm from a garage startup into a multi-million-dollar powerhouse, his green eyes scanning boardrooms with the precision of a surgeon, always one step ahead. Whispers in the break room painted him as untouchable, brilliant, yes, but distant, with a personal life shrouded in mystery. No one dared speculate about the rainbow pin on his lapel. It was just Jordan being Jordan, a nod to inclusivity in a city that preached it but rarely practiced it without strings. That Friday had started like any other, a frenzy of deadline crunches for the quarterly launch. By 8 p.m., the floor had emptied, colleagues scattering to bars in Soma or cozy homes in No Valley, leaving me alone with my laptop and a lukewarm coffee. I'd volunteered to finalize the vulnerability assessment on our new algorithm. Ironic, given how exposed I felt every time Jordan passed my desk, his cologne a faint trail of sandalwood that lingered like temptation. "Alex, you're a lifesaver," he'd said earlier, clapping my shoulder with a grip that sent electricity skittering down my spine. His touch was professional, always, firm handshakes, motivational nods, but in my fevered imagination, it lingered, promising more. I shook it off, as I always did, burying myself in code until the clock ticked past 11. That's when the storm hit, a Bay Area deluge that turned streets into rivers and knocked out half the city's power grid. The lights flickered, then steadied, but the building's smart locks engaged automatically, a failsafe against flooding in the basement generators. I didn't notice at first, too engrossed in debugging a glitch. Footsteps echoed from the executive suite, and there he was, Jordan, loosening his tie, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with quiet strength. He carried a stack of confidential files, his brow furrowed in that way that made him look less like a CEO and more like a man wrestling demons. "Rivera? Still here?" His voice was gravelly from a day of calls, but it wrapped around my name like velvet. I stood to quickly, knocking over my mug, coffee splashing across the keyboard like spilled blood. "Mr. Hale, Jordan, sir. Yeah, just wrapping up. The storm's a beast, huh?" My heart jackhammered, words tumbling out in a rush. Up close, without the buffer of meetings, he was devastating. Faint lines etching his eyes from too many sleepless nights, innovating, a jaw that could cut glass shadowed by evening stubble. He glanced at the windows, rain sheeting down in relentless waves. "Call me Jordan outside hours. And yeah, it's biblical out there." He set the files on my desk, close enough that our fingers brushed as I steadied the mug. A spark, innocent, accidental, but it ignited something feral in me, a hunger I'd starved for years. Since college in L.A., where I'd kissed a boy under the palm trees, only to bolt when fear clawed in, I'd locked away that part of myself. Work was safe. Numbers didn't judge, didn't demand labels in a world that still side-eyed two men holding hands on Market Street. We chatted awkwardly, weather, the algorithm's quirks, until he tried the elevator. The panel blinked red. Emergency lockdown engaged. My stomach dropped. The stairwell door wouldn't budge, either. The system was designed to seal the building during blackouts, alerting security at dawn. We were marooned, two souls adrift in a sea of cubicles, with 12 hours until rescue. "Shit," Jordan muttered, rubbing his neck, the first crack in his armor. He paced, phone dead from the outage, no signal piercing the storm. I watched him, mesmerized by the uncharacteristic vulnerability, the way his shoulders tensed, as if carrying the weight of empires and unspoken regrets. Guess we're camping out. You okay with that, Alex? My throat tightened. Okay. Being trapped with the man who'd haunted my dreams? Yeah, sure. I've got snacks in my drawer. I forced a laugh, but it died in the air, heavy with the unsaid. We settled in the break room, a sterile oasis of vending machines and a sagging couch facing a massive window overlooking the bay. The city lights pulsed like distant heartbeats, the bridge a spectral arc in the downpour. Jordan raided the fridge for bottled water and energy bars, his movements efficient, almost military. Rumors said he'd done a stint in the Marines before pivoting to code. I spread out on the floor with my laptop, its glow casting eerie shadows, while he claimed the couch, files open on his lap. Silence stretched, thick and charged. Then, tell me about you, Alex. Beyond the spreadsheets. His voice cut through, low and probing, like he was dissecting code for flaws. I hesitated, fingers hovering over keys. What could I say? That I grew up in a tight-knit family in East LA, where machismo meant hiding tears and desires alike. That my parents' Catholic guilt still echoed in holiday calls, urging grandkids from a girlfriend I'd never introduce. Not much to tell. Grew up dodging gang tags in the barrio. Got a scholarship to UCLA for comp science, landed here, chasing the dream. I shrugged, evading. You? How'd a guy like you end up building empires in this fog? He chuckled, a sound like thunder rolling in. Empires? More like sandcastles against the tide. Grew up in a nowhere town in Oregon. Rainy, repressed, the kind where different gets you a black eye. His eyes darkened, staring into the storm. I was that kid, sneaking glances at the quarterback, writing bad poetry about boys who never looked back. Came out at 18, lost half my friends, but it freed me. Marines taught discipline. Stanford taught ambition. Now, I pour it all into this place, making tech that connects people, not divides them. The words hung, a bridge extended over chasms I dared not cross. Connected. That's what Hail Tech promised. Algorithms that match souls in a lonely world. Irony bit deep. I coded features for queer-inclusive dating apps, all while swiping left on my own life. Sounds brave. I murmured, heat rising in my cheeks. Brave. What a coward's word from a coward's mouth. Hours ticked by in fits, sporadic talk, longer silences. He shared war stories from startup pitches, the near bankruptcies that forged his steel. I confessed lighter sins, botched dates with women to appease family, the ache of pride parades watched from afar. The rain eased to a drizzle, but tension built, electric as ozone. Around 2 a.m., exhaustion hit. Jordan stretched, shirt pulling taut across his chest, revealing the outline of a tattoo peeking from his collar. A compass rose, symbol of finding true north amid storms. Can't sleep on that couch forever, he said, voice husky. Floor's all yours if you want company. It was casual, but his gaze lingered, green depths pulling me under. I swallowed hard, shifting closer under the pretense of sharing warmth. Our knees brushed, and neither pulled away. The air thickened, scented with rain and revelation. Jordan, why do you care? About some analyst burning midnight oil. He turned, face inches from mine, breath mingling. Because I see you, Alex. The way you light up over data patterns, like they're poetry. The way you hesitate, like you're holding back a storm of your own. His hand lifted, hesitating, then cupped my jaw, gentle questioning. Time fractured. The world narrowed to that touch, warm and real, erasing years of denial. I leaned in, heart thundering, lips meeting his in a kiss that tasted of salt and salvation. It was tentative at first, a question posed in the dark, then fierce, hands tangling in hair, bodies pressing close as if to merge and mend. He kissed like he'd been starving too, murmurs of God, Alex vibrating against my skin. We broke apart, gasping, foreheads touching, the office a cocoon of possibility. But dawn loomed, and with it, reality. This, us, he whispered, thumb tracing my lip. It changes everything. I nodded, terror and elation twisting like vines. Locked doors had freed us, but the real barriers waited outside. Corporate policies, prying eyes, my own ghosts. Yet in that moment, tangled on the break room floor, I glimpsed a future. Not hiding, but holding on, two men rewriting the code of their lives. Security arrived at 6 a.m., prying open the doors with apologies and flood updates. We straightened clothes, shared a conspiratorial smile, and stepped into the light as colleagues for now. But as we rode down together, his hand brushing mine in the elevator's privacy, I knew the lock had been picked forever. Nothing would be the same, and for the first time, that terrified me less than it thrilled. The week blurred into a haze of stolen glances across conference rooms, Jordan's emails laced with double meanings. Let's debug that anomaly tonight? And my nights replaying that kiss until sleep evaded me. Hail Tech buzzed with post-storm recovery, emergency meetings on server backups, team lunches dissecting the outage. I navigated it all on autopilot, my skin humming with secret fire. But guilt gnawed, my family's voices in my head, the HR handbook's stern warnings on fraternization. What if this was just a fluke, a storm-born lapse? Jordan seemed unfazed, his charisma unchanged in boardrooms, but I caught the flickers, a prolonged stare during my presentation, a text at midnight, thinking of you. Coffee tomorrow? Off the clock. That off the clock was a lifeline. We met at a hole in the wall in the Castro, rainbow flags fluttering like promises outside. He arrived in jeans and a Henley that hugged his frame, looking less CEO and more the man who'd held me through the night. Alex, he said, pulling me into a hug that lingered, his chin resting on my head. The cafe thrummed with laughter, queer couples entwined without shame, a world I'd skirted but never entered. Over lattes, walls crumbled. He spoke of his ex, a designer named Theo who'd left 2 years back, citing Jordan's workaholic soul as the villain. I built this company to prove I could have it all, he admitted, stirring foam into oblivion. But success is a jealous lover. Theo said I prioritize code over connection. Regret shadowed his eyes, and I ached to erase it. My turn for confession, I said, voice steady despite the quake inside. I've never done this. Dated a guy, not really. College flirtations that fizzled into fear. The words tasted like ash, but his hand covered mine across the table, public defiant. Then we take it slow, no rush, just us figuring it out. His smile was a sunrise, warming the chill I'd carried for years. Slow? Fate laughed. By Thursday, a crisis erupted. Our algorithm glitched during a client demo, exposing user data vulnerabilities that could tank the stock. Jordan called an all-nighter, the team converging like warriors. Amid the chaos, whiteboards scrawled with fixes, pizza boxes piling. I caught him watching me, pride mingling with something deeper. You've got this, he murmured during a break, our fingers linking under the table. The team chattered oblivious, but heat bloomed in my chest, a defiant bloom against the fluorescent glare. We nailed the patch by dawn, high fives all around, but as the floor emptied, Jordan pulled me into his office, a glass-walled eyrie overlooking the bay. You were brilliant, he said, backing me against the desk, lips claiming mine with urgent need. Clothes shed in a frenzy, hands exploring uncharted territories, his tattooed back arching under my touch, my gasps muffled against his neck. It was raw, reverent, bodies speaking what words fumbled, a symphony of sighs and whispered names. Afterward, tangled in his jacket on the leather couch, he traced patterns on my skin. I want more than nights, Alex. Dates. Vacations. The whole messy thing. Terror spiked. My visa tied to this job. Family dinners looming at Thanksgiving. What if it blows up? The company. Us. He kissed my temple. Then we rebuild. Together. But storms brew in calm skies. Friday brought Elena Vasquez, Jordan's ex-board member and Theo's sister, storming in for a consult. Sharp-suited and sharper-tongued, she eyed me like prey during the meeting, her questions probing Hail Tech's internal dynamics. Whispers followed. She'd sued a former employer for discrimination, one big. Was she sniffing for scandal? That night, over takeout in my apartment, tacos from a truck that reminded me of home, Jordan vented. Elena's fishing. Theo fed her stories. She thinks I'm spiraling again. His vulnerability cracked me open. I shared my own fractures, Abuela's rosary prayers for my prodigal heart, the cousin who disowned his partner last Pride. We made love slowly then, candles flickering against peeling mission walls, his body a map I memorized. You're my north, he breathed, echoing his tattoo. Dawn found us entwined, but Elena's shadow lingered. Monday shattered it. An anonymous email hit HR. Inappropriate relations between CEO and subordinate. Witnessed post-outage. The office froze. Glances darted like shrapnel. Jordan called me in, Face ashen. It's bullshit, but we have to address it. Protocol. My world tilted. Protocol or cover? Both. For now. His hand grazed mine, a promise in the peril. Interviews followed, polite inquisitions that felt like trials. I stonewalled, heart pounding, while Elena consulted, her smile ablaze. Nights blurred into strategy sessions at Jordan's loft in Pacific Heights. Ocean views mocking our turmoil. There, amid exposed brick and abstract art, we plotted. Legal reviews, team memos on inclusivity. But fear festered. I dodged family calls, the lie growing thorns. Climax crashed midweek. Elena confronted us in the boardroom, files slamming like judgments. I have proof, security cams from the lockdown night. Kisses don't lie, Jordan. And you, Alex? Climbing the ladder on your back? Rage boiled. Jordan's voice thundered. Get out. This is harassment, not help. She left smirking, but the damage seeped. Stock dipped. Whispers swelled. That evening, on his balcony with the bridge aglow, I broke. I can't do this. The exposure. My family would crucify me. He pulled me close. Rain starting anew. Then we fight. Or we walk. But not alone. Tears mixed with drops on my cheeks. His kiss was fierce, a vow against the void. Resolution dawned unexpectedly. The proof was bluff. Cams off during outage. Elena retracted, sued for defamation instead, her empire crumbling under countersuits. Hail Tech rallied. A company-wide town hall where Jordan spoke raw truth. We're building more than tech. We're building space for authenticity. Love doesn't discriminate. Neither should we. The room erupted, applause, tears. Later, in the quiet, he knelt before me, ring glinting, a simple band etched with code. Marry me, Alex. Let's rewrite the rules. I said yes, sobs choking joy. Months later, at a sunset wedding on Baker Beach, waves crashing like cheers, family tentatively present, Abuela's blessing whispered over cake. We vowed forever. The office? Promoted me to partner, policies evolved. Nothing was the same, but in each other's arms, we found home. Proof that locked doors open worlds, and love, once freed, redefines everything. Our honeymoon in Big Sur was a balm. Cliffside hikes where Jordan's hand in mine felt like destiny, starlit nights whispering futures. Back in the city, life wove new patterns, joint keynotes at tech conferences where I'd joke about debugging relationships, drawing laughs and nods from young queers in the crowd. My family softened. Thanksgiving brought Abuela's empanadas and halting questions about that nice Jordan. Her rosary now a bridge, not a barrier. But growth isn't linear. Shadows lingered. A year in, Hail Tech faced a buyout threat from a conservative conglomerate sniffing for cultural fits. Boardrooms turned battlegrounds, Jordan's vision clashing with suits who eyed our rainbow initiatives like liabilities. They want us sanitized, he fumed one night, pacing our new condo overlooking the bay. Our sanctuary, walls lined with photos. Us at Pride, hiking Yosemite, simple joys amid empire building. I pulled him down, grounding him. Then we fight smart. Show them our authenticity drives profit. Diverse teams innovate 30% faster. Remember that study. Data was my sword. Together, we rallied investors, leaked stories of our journey to tech mags. Headlines blared. From lockdown to love. How Hail Tech CEOs redefined corporate romance. The buyout folded, shares soared. Yet personal tides ebbed too. My cousin Raul, the one who turned his back on love, showed up unannounced, haggard, eyes haunted. Heard your story. Thought, maybe I was wrong. Over beers on our balcony, he confessed his own buried truths, a partner lost to silence. Jordan cooked steak and stories, while I listened to cycle breaking. Raul stayed, crashing on our couch, eventually finding his way to a local support group. Human connections, fragile as they were, proved the real algorithm. Input vulnerability, output healing. 2 years post-lockdown, we adopted Luca, a scrappy rescue pup from the SPCA, all wagging tail and boundless energy, symbol of the family we'd forged. Mornings blurred. Jordan brewing coffee, me walking Luca along the Embarcadero, the bridge a constant witness. Work evolved. I led diversity labs, training coders to embed empathy in AI, ensuring no one felt locked out. One stormy eve, reminiscent of that fated night, power flickered. Jordan grinned, pulling me close. Round 2. Laughter bubbled as we hunkered in, Luca snoring at our feet. No fear now, just us unbreakable. In the end, that overnight trap wasn't a curse, but a catalyst, stripping illusions to reveal core truths. Love demands courage. Vulnerability breeds strength. And in a world of locked doors, the boldest key is honesty. Jordan and I, we unlocked it all, proving that from chaos comes clarity, and from two wary hearts, a legacy of unapologetic love.